Okay, let's get it started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KPU International's Spring 2024. Let's get ready for registration webinar. My name is Angel, and I am the coordinator, International Academic and Immigration Advising with KPU International Advising Team. I will be your facilitator for today. So first, I would like to acknowledge that we at Kwantlen Polytechnic University respectfully acknowledge that we live, work, and study in a region that overlaps with the unceded traditional and ancestral First Nation territories of the Musqueam, Kazi, Samiamu, Tsawwassen, Kakayet, and Coquitlam. And with the lands of the Coquitlam First Nation, which gifted its name to this university. We thank them for having cared for the lands and waters since time immemorial. Honor their graciousness to the students who seek knowledge here. In the cause of reconciliation, we recognize our commitment to address and reduce ongoing systematic colonialism, oppression, and racism that Indigenous peoples continue to experience. I would like to thank you everyone for being here. Many of you are joining us from all over the world. We are excited to be part of your journey to the Canadian education and would like to let you know that we are here to support. Before we welcome our presenter for today's registration webinar, I would like to quickly go over a couple of housekeeping items. I am sure you have a lot of questions and inquiries for today, whether they are related to registration, admission, and or generally life as an international student in Canada. Please pay close attention to our webinar as it covers a lot of information and many of your questions will be answered. At the end of our session, we will open up the Q&A platform and you can leave your question in that Q&A box on the right side of the screen. A number of staff from KPU International will try to answer as many of your questions as they can. If it is a recurring question, the question will be published and the questions and answers so all of you can see it. So before posting your next question in the Q&A box, make sure to review the questions that are already being answered and shared publicly. And again, please remember your questions may be answered in the presentation already, so it is important for you to watch it carefully first. As newly admitted students, you should already receive the course recommendation email with the handouts from KPU International Department. Please have a look at the handout and I hope you have an idea what course you should consider to take for your first semester. Secondly, I would like to let everyone know that we will be recording today's session and sharing the video with newly admitted students. Please keep an eye on an email communication to your KPU email account for later this week to find out the link of the video. Now, we will turn the time over to the presenter of the day. Sarah is our international student advisor at KPU International with extensive experience in working with international students. Sarah, feel free to start your presentation now.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and are excited about starting your journey at KPU. As Angel mentioned, I am one of the international student advisors here at KPU. So we'll get started with our presentation. I do have a special note for our students coming from India. As an institution, we do recognize the current ongoing disputes between India and Canada and would like to assure you that KPU takes the safety and security of all the students very seriously. We have numerous support services available to our international students that can be accessed free of charge throughout your time at KPU. And I will go over what these services are near the end of this webinar. All right, so the purpose of today's webinar is to not only go over the process of course registration, but also to highlight other key tools and information that will assist you throughout your time at KPU. So I highly encourage you to pay attention till the very end of this presentation and take notes along the way. Some of the things that we will cover in this webinar are the following. What is the role of International Advising Team? What we do, why we're here, and when and how to meet with us. I will go over the course registration process. I will talk about the types of courses offered at KPU and difference between online, blended, and in-person courses. I will be discussing the importance of maintaining full-time status and IRCC's requirement on taking online classes and how it can impact your post-graduation work permit. I will go over the One.KPU platform, which you will use very frequently throughout your time at KPU. And lastly, I will briefly talk about some of the KPU support services available to our international students. So there's definitely a lot of information that we'll be covering, but the good thing is if you missed any information or didn't understand something, as Angel mentioned, we will be recording this session and sharing with all of you later on. But having said that, I still encourage you to pay attention throughout the presentation, okay? All right, so this takes me to our next slide. What is the purpose of International Advising Team? As outlined here, international student advisors are dedicated to assisting international students in all academic and non-academic matters. Our goal is to create a welcoming and inclusive environment where you can reach out to us and ask questions, seek guidance, and hopefully thrive at both an academic and personal level. The International Advising Team is a fairly large team. We have 5 advisors at our Surrey campus. Myself, Leah, Sanam, Juris, and Manpreet. As you can see, each of the advisors, we are fluent in a second language. In our Richmond campus, we have 4 advisors, Vicky, Hilary, Sungjo, and Haley. All of them are fluent in Mandarin except Sungjo, who is fluent in Korean. Apart from our advisors, our team includes Kevin Lee. He's the manager of our international advising team. Angel, who you just met with, who you just saw, she's our advising coordinator. Luciana, our advising support assistant, and James, our student assistant. Again, everyone in our international department is fluent in a second language. So if you ever need to speak to someone in a different language, you're more than welcome to request that. All right, so what kind of supports do the international student advisors offer exactly? Well, international advisors can help you in both academic and non-academic matters. They can help you with exploring different programs and with course planning. They can help you determine how you're progressing in your program and when you can expect to graduate. They can answer questions around academic standing and GPA. They can help you understand KPU policies and procedures. On the non-academic side, advisors can help you with immigration-related questions. They can assist you with various types of letters for IRCC applications. They can help you connect with the Learning Center resources in reaching out to counseling services. They can tell you how to apply for your social insurance number and how to get involved with student events and volunteering. And these are just some of the common topics that students often have questions about. You're welcome to ask us questions about something not mentioned here. If you feel your inquiry can be better dealt with by another department, we will direct you to the right point of contact. All right, so when should you see an international student advisor? So for any immigration-related questions, regardless of your program and how many credits you have completed, you always need to meet with an international student advisor. If you are in an ELSD, ACP, or TRACE program, you should see an international student advisor for all your academic and non-academic questions. And the same applies to students in a certificate, diploma, or associate degree program, and those in their first or second year of a bachelor's program. So if you fit into any one of these categories, you should see an international student advisor for all your questions. So apart from international student advisors, KPU also has degree advisors and student success coaches. If you're enrolled in a bachelor's program, once you complete more than 45 credits, you should be seeing a degree advisor for any course planning or program progression related questions. So any academic related questions after you have completed 45 credits, you need to see a degree advisor. We have degree advisors for the Faculty of Business, Arts, Science and Horticulture, and Design. If you're in a post-baccalaureate or graduate diploma program, then you must meet with a student success coach in the School of Business for any academic or career-related questions. Okay, I hope that is clear. So how do you meet with an international student advisor? Well, students have the option of either booking a 30-minute appointment or to see an advisor doing drop-ins. We offer both online and in-person drop-ins and appointments. Please be mindful that drop-ins are meant for quick questions, and some examples of topics that can be discussed in drop-ins versus an appointment are mentioned on this slide. As we have many students that we need to attend during a drop-in session, advisors are only able to allot 10 to 15 minutes to each student. Therefore, if you need to discuss something in detail, we encourage you to book a 30-minute appointment whenever possible. Okay, so now in terms of how to book an appointment or how to join a drop-in session, I'm just going to go to our main advising webpage to show you quickly. So if you go to kpu.ca/international/advising, okay, on the main page, we have, if you click on this, how to book, or you click on this step-by-step instruction video, it will take you to a video where it shows you exactly what you need to do to book an appointment. There are not a lot of steps. It's pretty straightforward. So you can watch this video to get an idea of how to book a 30-minute appointment with an advisor. For the drop-in sessions, as you can see here, we have our drop-in schedules posted here. You basically have to click on the join in drop-in session just 10-15 minutes before the drop-in starts for an online drop-ins. For in-person drop-ins, you have to come in physically and sign up within our office. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our slide. All right, so I'll just go back. Okay, now let's talk about course registration. So KPU has 3 academic terms per calendar year. The calendar year runs from September to August. The terms are referred to as fall, spring, and summer. The fall term is from September to December. Spring semester begins from January to April, and the summer term is from May to August. As mentioned here, course registration begins approximately 1.5 months before the semester starts. That means registration for your summer 2024 term will begin around mid-March. Okay. So before we go into the course registration demo, a few reminders to take note of. If you're currently awaiting a decision on your study permit, it is important that you still go ahead and register for your classes, okay? If your study permit application is approved, you must submit proof of the approval before December 15. Otherwise, your courses will be dropped, okay? So make a note of that date, December 15. If your study permit application is still pending by December 15, drop your classes and apply for a deferral. Okay, the deadline to apply for a deferral is January 5th, and note that deferrals are only possible for open intake programs. If your study permit is denied, drop all your classes before the first day of the term, and you may request a refund of your confirmation deposit. I've posted a link at the very bottom, kpu.ca/international/future -students/refunds. You can visit this link, which will give you the steps on how to apply for a refund if you are in the situation where your study permit is denied. Okay. A few more reminders. So in order to register for your classes, it is important that you know your KPU login information. Your user ID is your student email, and your default password is your date of birth entered in the format shown here. So you have to enter your date, first 3 letters of your month, first letter being capital, and then the year. If you're unsure of your password, you may scan the QR code here for steps on how to reset your password. Once you have your login credentials, it's important to find out what your registration date and time is, okay? You're only able to start registering for your classes after the given time ticket issued to you. I'll go over how to find your registration time when we go over the course registration process, okay? So in terms of what courses you should take in your first semester, all new students are emailed a list of recommended courses that they should register for in their first semester. The course recommendations are based on your faculty and intended major. So please refer to that handout or that document that's been emailed to you when registering for your classes, okay? As a new student, you would have already paid the confirmation deposit. However, in subsequent semesters, you do need to ensure that your account has a minimum balance of $2,200 before registration for next semester starts. This is referred to as a confirmation deposit and is used towards your tuition fees. Students who don't have this minimum balance in their account, once registration starts, will not be able to register into their next term classes, okay? So you don't have to worry about this for this semester, but for the next semesters going forward, you do have to make sure that you have a $2,200 balance before registration starts for the next semester, okay? Lastly, let's go over what clear action item means. Now, when you try to register for your courses in your very first semester, you will receive a pop-up notification informing you that an action item is pending. You must clear this action item in order to continue with the registration process. We'll just watch a brief video about how you have to clear that action item. So I'm just going to play this. So this is the pop-up item that you will see. So just click continue and then click on this link, social insurance link, social insurance number. And then scroll all the way to the bottom. Most of you will not have a SIN number, so you can choose I have not entered a SIN as I do not have one at this time. And then just hit save. And then after you hit save, you'll be able to continue and then register for your classes. Okay. All right, so we'll go over the registration demo. So I'm just gonna go back to our browser. And I apologize, I'm not able to make eye contact because I'm using multiple monitors here. So let's see. Okay, so first I will go over how you can find your registration date and time, as I had mentioned previously. So if you click on, first actually I'm going to go back to One.KPU and I'll go over in more details on what One.KPU is. But to get to this page, you can look for register for classes, okay? And then once you click on this, it will take you to this screen, okay? And then once you click here, prepare for registration. This works. I just have to enter the screen. Okay, and then you'll choose your term. So I'm going to select spring 2024. And then here at the very bottom, you'll see what your registration date and time is, okay? All new students, actually in your first and second semester, you do get priority registration, meaning you'll get a date earlier than most other students. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of that date and time and try to register for your classes as soon as your registration time opens up. Because the longer that you wait, the more chances are that the classes you want will get full, and then you'll have to take possibly classes you know, if you prefer classes in Surrey campus and if you delay your course registration, you may not be able to get classes in Surrey campus. You may have to find classes in other campuses, for instance, Richmond campus and Langley campus, okay? So it's really important to try to register for your courses as soon as your registration time opens. So let's go back to our registration. So in order to register for your courses, you will click on register for classes, okay? and then choose your term, spring 2024, hit continue. Okay, so when you're registering for your classes, so as mentioned before, you are provided with course recommendations. It's always important to search for the course that you need to register for and not enter your program name here. So for instance, if you are in a computer information systems program, you're not going to search computer information systems. You'll probably search for info. You'll type info or whatever course that is part of your program, okay? So I'm just going to show you an example. So we just, let's say you need to take an accounting course, 7, 10. There's also an option here, advanced search, where you can, I don't really recommend using it, but it's mostly useful if you are looking for a course in a specific campus. So for example, if you want the system to show you only classes that are available in the Surrey campus, you can choose Surrey and then hit search. Okay, that didn't work. Let me just try again. Okay. So I guess this is a demo. Okay, so you'll be able to see a lot more sections than what I see here. So this is just a test version. So as you can see here, we can see which campus the course is offered here. It says Richmond. We can see the way the course will be delivered. So these are both in-person classes. You can find the times, the meeting times, as well as the lecture times, as well as like final exam times. So if you see here, just be mindful. Sometimes you'll see that the exam time will be listed at the top. Sometimes they'll be listed at the bottom. So it can alternate. So just make sure that you are looking at the correct time. For instance, for this class, your final exam will be on April 18 from 12 to 3 p.m. and your lectures are every Thursday from 1 to 3:50 p.m. Okay, if you look at this one, same thing. It's the final exam is stated at the top, but sometimes you will see it'll be at the bottom. Okay, you can see your instructor name here, and then this is where you can see how many seats are still available in the class. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the course. So once you click add, you're not finished there. Okay, so you do have to make sure that you select register from the drop-down menu and then hit submit. Okay, so once you click submit, if it's successful, you should see this in green. You should see registered. Okay, so that means you have been successfully registered in the course. If you click on schedule details on the left-hand side, you will be able to see all the details of your course here. Okay. Now, one thing to remember is if you find that the class is full, it's really, really important that you waitlist. Okay. Many times, maybe not this semester, but in your future semesters, you might find that when your registration time opens up, a class that you're wanting to take, it's full. Okay. The number one thing to do at that point is to waitlist, because many times, once you waitlist for a course, there are seats that open up, because oftentimes students do drop from classes and seats end up opening up. Another reason to waitlist is if we have a lot of students waitlisted for a certain course, it shows the faculty that there is a demand for this class. And sometimes if we have the resources available, they will try to open more sections. Okay, so if you don't waitlist, then it's hard to know whether there's a demand for the course or not. I'm not able to show you how to waitlist, but basically you will be able to see here how many students are on the waitlist and how many waitlist seats are remaining. Sometimes waitlist seats also get full, but as you can see here for this specific section, we have 37 of 37 waitlist seats remaining. So if if there were 5 seats remaining for waitlist, still go ahead and waitlist. And then what you'll have to do is once the course gets shows up in the bottom, you'll be able to see in the drop-down menu a waitlist option. Okay, so you'll choose waitlist, and then you'll click submit. And then if you are waitlisted, it will show you waitlisted. Okay. And then in terms of knowing what waitlist position you're at, if you go to the left-hand side under schedule details, if you click on this arrow, you know, it hides all the details, but if you click again and it is pointing downwards, it gives you more details, and you will be able to see the waitlist position number here as well. Okay. In terms of dropping the course, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to select drop and then submit, and I'll drop the class. There's also this option, conditional add and drop. I hope I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but this is a really good option to use if you're wanting to add a class and drop another course, but you don't want to take a chance of dropping a course and not, you know, if you're not registered in the other course, it can be a gamble, because that way you're not going to get it into your registered course, and you would be dropped from the course that you registered in previously. So basically, if you choose drop here and you wanted to add another course, you could select this conditional add and drop and then click add. And then that way you can ensure, if you're not able to successfully register into the other course, the system won't drop you from the currently registered course. I hope that makes sense. If you can, yeah, it tells you a little bit more. If you click on this icon here, it tells you how to use that option. I'm gonna try another course here. So another, I'm gonna try to register for this course, Biology 1110, okay? So for any science, as well as some language courses, you will see that there's a lecture and a lab component, both. Okay? It's really important to register for both the lecture and the lab component together. Okay, if you don't do that, you will receive a linked error. It will give you an error message. So for example, for this specific course, and you can identify whether it's a lecture or a lab by the number of credits stated. Okay, so if it says 4 credits, that means that's the lecture component. And if there are 0 credits, that's the lab component. Okay, so you need to make sure that you register for both at the same time. So I'm going to click add here, as well as I'm going to click add in the lab section. So now that I've made sure that I have both the lab and the lecture component, I'm going to make sure that the register is highlighted and then click submit. Hopefully this works. Okay, so it worked. I don't know why I deleted this, but it maybe because I selected drop. Yeah. So as you can see, we are registered in both. If you were to just select one, I'll show you quickly. Let's say if you were just to add, oh, let's search again. Okay, it's not. Let's just suppose that. I just want to show you what happens if you only try to. Yeah, so let's say if we just tried to register for the lecture and we didn't add the lab component. See, it'll give you this linked course, register for both parts error. Okay, so it's really important that you select both the lecture and the lab. Let me see if there's anything else I need to go over. Yeah, I think that's the main key points. I hope, I mean, it's not very complicated. I know in your first semester, it can seem a little bit daunting to register for classes, but like I said, if you utilize your time and window, which is, most new students get priority, you shouldn't face any major issues. All right, so I'm going to go back to our presentation. So now that we have covered the registration process, it is important to note some of the common errors that you might receive when registering for your classes and what those errors mean, okay? So closed waitlisted, this means that the section you're trying to enroll in is full, okay, and that a waitlist is available. So what I had mentioned earlier, if the class is full, you have the option to waitlist. And I think I already went over the process. So to waitlist, you will need to select waitlisted from the drop-down menu and select submit. You will see a number under the column status, which will show you how many students are on the waitlist for that particular section. And I always recommend that you try to waitlist for the section that has the least number of students on the waitlist. That will increase your chances of getting in the course. Okay, another error that you may encounter is the prerequisite, co-requisite, and met error. Okay, so a make sure you guys can see my screen. Yes. Okay, so a prerequisite course is a course that you must have completed successfully prior to registering in a given course. Okay, whereas a co-requisite course must be taken at the same time or previous to a currently registered course. Both prerequisite and co-requisite courses must be completed with a minimum grade of C or unless otherwise stated. So if you don't have these requirements met, you will receive the prerequisite co-requisite error. Okay. Time conflict error is received when you attempt to register in a section that either has the class time or exam time overlapping with another class that you have already registered for. Lastly, linked course required error. Some courses, particularly science and language courses, as I demonstrated earlier, have a linked lecture and a lab. This means if you attempt registration in only one of these sections, you will receive this error. So you must ensure that you register in both the lecture and the lab component at the same time. This is particularly relevant for any student in the science and horticulture faculty. Okay. At the very top of this slide, there is a QR code that you can scan to view a full list of possible registration errors that you can receive. Okay. All right, so you may also receive reserve and restriction errors when attempting to register for some courses. This is because some sections for a particular course are reserved for a specific group of students. For example, there may be a business course with 7 sections open, but out of those 7 sections, 3 may be reserved for students who are doing a bachelor's in BA in accounting, or all of the sections may have 10 seats designated specifically for students in a particular program. Okay, if a section has seat reserves, this will be displayed in the class search under the column reserved seats. Okay, as shown here. Most reserves are removed about 3 weeks after the start of registration, and those seats then become available for all students eligible to register in the course. Restrictions, on the other hand, are permanent. They will not be removed. Restrictions are placed on certain courses that are meant for students in a specific program. For example, info courses are restricted to students who are in the BTech or Computer Information Systems program. Similarly, in many courses in the 4th and 5th year level are restricted to students who are declared in specific programs. If you'd like a list of all the class sections that are coded as reserved or restricted, please refer to the link below in the green box. Okay. All right. So this is the link that I'm referring to that you can go and find the entire list of courses and sections that are listed as reserves or restricted. All right. So we're going to talk about KPU's grade 12 math requirement for the next few minutes. So at KPU, as well as across many other Canadian institutions, all science programs have university-level math, physics, chemistry, and biology courses that students must take in order to graduate from that program. With the exception of biology, grade 12 math with a minimum grade of C is a prerequisite for all university science courses. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you did not complete grade 12 math with a minimum C grade and you attempt to register for any undergraduate chemistry, physics, or mathematics course, you will see a prerequisite, co-requisite unmet error. Okay. In addition to science programs, Diploma in Computer Information Systems, Bachelor of IT, Diploma in Business Administration, and Associate of Arts degree in Economics also have 1 or more courses in the program that have grade 12 math as a prerequisite requirement, okay? So if you're a student who is in any one of these programs and does not have grade 12 math, then you are advised to take courses that don't have grade 12 math as a prerequisite in your first semester. And in order to fulfill this prerequisite requirement, you may need to take either math qualifying courses, and I will talk more about what qualifying courses are in the next slide, or you can write the MPT test. And you may visit the link kpu.ca/testing/math/MPT at the very bottom to learn more about the MPT test. You are encouraged to see an advisor to fully understand how you may upgrade your math to meet the grade 12 math prerequisite requirement. Okay, and I also included a QR code which you can scan for a full list of programs that have courses with high school requirements as a prerequisite. Okay. Okay, so KPU offers 3 main types of courses. Full-time courses are pretty straightforward. They run for the entire duration of the course. That is, for spring term, full-term classes will start in the beginning of January and end in April. Intersession courses, they're not very common, but if they are offered, expect to have more classes per week compared to full-term courses, because the material that is taught in 4 months is condensed in a 1.5-month period. There are usually 2 sessions offered in a semester. For instance, for spring 2024, if there are any intersession courses offered, session 1 will run from January to mid-February, and session 2 classes will run from March to mid-April, approximately. It is important to note that the deadline to add and drop from these classes without penalty is different from full-term classes. And I will highlight this in a bit more detail later when we go over dates and deadlines. Qualifying courses, you can consider them as high school level courses, okay? So they're meant to upgrade your knowledge and proficiency in the subject area so that you may take undergraduate studies. So qualifying courses will always end with a Q, example ENGQ, MATQ, BioQ, etc. Okay, with the exception of ENGQ courses, qualifying courses cost the same as undergraduate courses, and they do not count towards your undergraduate credits, meaning you cannot use them to fulfill any undergraduate program requirement. Okay, so that's important to note. So when you're registering for your classes, you may see that some classes are offered in person, while other classes are offered as blended or online. So let's go over the definitions of what each of these course delivery methods mean. In person is pretty straightforward. Students have to be physically present in the class, as all the lectures, assignments, exams are delivered in person. Now, before we go into the next few terms, I want to define what asynchronous and synchronous means, okay? So asynchronous means happening at 2 different times, while synchronous means happening at the same time, okay? So now that we know what those 2 terms mean, let's look at what blended asynchronous courses mean. So blended asynchronous is a combination of both in-person and online classes, okay, where the online portion of the class is asynchronous, meaning the online component is not delivered at any specific time, so you can view the content online at your own time. Okay, blended synchronous is a combination of both in-person and online classes, where the online portion of the class is scheduled at a specific time, which means you must be online at the time specified in your schedule. Okay, online asynchronous classes have no scheduled meeting times. The instructor will just upload materials and pre-recorded lectures online, and you may review and replay the lectures to clarify concepts. You will be expected to complete the coursework on your own schedule, but of course within the deadlines provided by the instructor. This type of course requires a lot of discipline. Okay, so when you're thinking of taking any online asynchronous classes, just be mindful that it's a lot of discipline required for these types of classes. Online synchronous are classes where the instructor and students are both online at the same time. Okay, the instructor may give a live lecture at the specified time, so it's important that you're logged into your Moodle at the scheduled time. Exams may either be conducted online or in person. Okay. If this is your first time taking classes in a Canadian institution, we highly recommend that you take in-person classes in your first semester, okay? Online courses are not suitable for everyone, and they do require good time management skills and a high degree of self-discipline. Many students who do enroll in online classes find themselves feeling disengaged and disconnected from the course because you don't have that face-to-face interaction with your peers and instructors. So just some things to consider when you are registering for your classes, okay? All right, I'm just gonna have a sip of water. I know we've gone through a lot of information already, but you may want to pay extra attention to the next few slides as it relates to the post-graduation eligibility requirements. Many of you may plan to apply for the PGWP program upon completion of your studies. If so, it is important to take note that one of the criteria to apply for your PGWP program is that you must maintain full-time status throughout your studies, okay? So full-time means enrolled in at least 9 credits. There are a few exceptions. For example, you can take a scheduled break. This means you can take 1 semester off in a calendar year, provided that you remain full-time before that semester and full-time after. If you ever plan on taking a scheduled break, it's always recommended that you consult with an international student advisor first, okay? Another exception is if you take an authorized leave. An authorized leave can be provided if you need to take a semester off that cannot qualify as a scheduled break. You must see an advisor for this. An authorized leave is only approved under extenuating circumstances, and supporting documentation is required for approval. Okay. Some scenarios that can disqualify you from the PGWP program are if you fail to register for at least 9 credits in your first semester, if you registered in less than 9 credits for 2 semesters back to back. And note, if you register for 9 credits and end up withdrawing from a course later that semester, you will be considered part-time for that semester, okay? So that's really important to remember. It's always a good idea to check with an international student advisor if you're thinking of dropping or withdrawing from a course and are worried that you may not be able to maintain full-time status. Taking an unauthorized leave from your studies can also make you ineligible for PGWP. And lastly, for students who are starting their program in spring 2024, they must complete at least 50% of their program in person inside Canada to remain eligible for the PGWP program. Okay, so this is a very common question we get from students. Can I take online classes? So as mentioned earlier, for new students, we always recommend that you enroll in in-person classes where possible. However, if you are thinking of taking online classes anytime during the course of your studies, it is important to remember IRCC's PGWP eligibility criteria when it comes to online courses. This criteria states that all students who begin their program in spring 2024 must be inside Canada for the complete duration of their studies to remain eligible for PGWP, okay? And at least 50% of the program must be completed in class, so in person inside Canada. In class also includes blended courses, okay? If you complete any course from outside Canada, that time will be deducted from the length of your PGWP, okay? All right, so we'll spend the next few minutes talking about One.KPU and the different apps you can access through it. So One.KPU is basically a platform in which you can sign in, and once you are signed in, One.KPU, once you're signed in One.KPU, you can access several apps and web pages through it. You don't need to sign in separately into each app. Some of the apps that you will use the most frequently are shown here, and I recommend that you add them in your favorites by clicking on the heart icon. So let's go over each of these quickly. So I'm just gonna actually go to the browser. Just gonna sign in. Okay, so let's first talk about the university calendar. So if you click on the university calendar, it'll take you to the university calendar webpage. So this is a really important page to refer to, as it is the official guide to KPU's academic programs. I recommend that you always refer to this resource whenever planning your courses. So basically, if you click on faculties and programs, it'll give you a list of all the programs here, and then you can also access it from here. So for instance, if you are doing computer information systems, you'll click on Diploma in Computer Information Systems, hit the Requirements tab, and then you'll see all the courses that you have to complete for this program listed here, okay? The University Calendar webpage also has a lot of other useful information. For instance, if you click on glossary, it has lots of important terms that are used throughout that you often encounter in your time as a university level student. So, you know, if there's a term that you don't understand, you can always refer to the glossary section. If you click on registration here, there's lots of useful links here for in terms of how to register for courses regarding tuition fees, how to pay your fees, registration regulations. And then there's also academic regulations. So if you need to know about academic standing, grades, student records, you can refer to these links as well. So really useful page. I highly recommend that you take some time to go over it. Next is dates and deadlines. So each semester prior to your classes starting, it's really important that you go over the dates and deadlines as listed on KPU's website. Okay, I highly recommend that you add key dates to your phone and calendar or Outlook calendar. Some key dates to take note of is, you know, first day of classes, last day of classes, exam period, grade submission deadline, last day to drop from classes without any financial penalty, last day to drop with a 30% penalty, the fee payment deadline, and last day that you can withdraw from your classes. Okay, so as you can see here, there are the deadlines for session 1 and session 2, which I talked about earlier when I talked about intersession classes. The deadlines are a little bit different. Okay, so if you see, for example, the 30% tuition at drop deadline, it is different for session 1 and session 2 compared to your full-time classes. Same with the withdrawal deadline, and the last day to drop for the session 2 is different as well. Okay, so it's really important that you go over this page you know, every semester and take a note of these deadlines. Now let's go over the iSent app. So iSent app is specifically designed for international students. The app has many resources designed to assist students as they arrive and settle in Canada and KPU. All new students are recommended to download this app on their phone. And as you can see here, it lists some of the things. So it has prepare for Canada checklist, submitting your documents. So you're able to submit your study permit, copy of your study permit, or your proof of your study permit approval through this. Access to your student account, your OSS account, KPU email, booking an advisor, and so forth. So I highly recommend that you download this app onto your phone. International orientation. So this is another thing that all new students are recommended to do, is to attend the student orientation. The student orientation is a great way to discover KPU, learn about our services and student resources, and meet fellow students and classmates, and as well as receive guidance from senior students. You do have to register for this event. So if you go to spring orientation, and then at the very bottom, you can see here registration for the Surrey campus will open on November 14. Same with Langley and Richmond campus. So you do have to register, so I highly recommend that you come back to this page on November 14 and register for the orientation. Okay. I'll go over this course websites, also referred to as Moodle, a bit later. Let's talk about the online self-service app first. So this app is really important. You can do several things through this app, including checking your tuition balance, any amount you owe, make a payment through credit. You can make a payment through your credit card. You can get a personalized book list for the courses you registered for. The personalized book list, it is available 2 weeks after you register for your courses. And you can also check here your final grades and obtain a transcript. So if you click on student menu, okay, and you click on records, so here you'll be able to see your grades for your once your grades are released. You can request an official and an unofficial transcript. There's also an option here later on when you are able to graduate. You can apply to graduate from here. You can also do requests for program declaration here and confirmation of enrollment letter if you need one. You can get that from here as well. So if you go back, if you click on registration, no, sorry, not registration. Go back. Click on student accounts. Here, this is what I was talking about. If you want to look at your account summary and have a look at how much fees that you owe, as well as make a payment, you can do that through here. And if you need to have a list, see a list of the books that you need to get for your courses, you can click on the View Personalized Book List. As I mentioned earlier, the list should be available 2 weeks after you register for a course. Okay, so let's go back to, okay. Now I'm just going to briefly talk about my action plan because I think this is a really useful tool for you to familiarize yourself with. So MAP, so my action plan also refers to as MAP, allows you to basically track completion of program requirements and see which requirements you may still be missing to graduate. Okay, so let's just quickly. So once you go to your My Action Plan, you will enter your student ID number here. So I just have a dummy student ID that I'm going to use. So as you can see here, once you enter your student ID number, you'll be able to see, let's see what happened. Okay. Yeah, so you'll be able to see what program you're in. All new students, you know, when you start your program, you do come in as an, most of the students will come in as an intended student. So if you are not a declared program, you'll see the word intended here, and then you are supposed to declare later on in your program once you meet the declaration requirements. So your program will be stated here: academic standing, GPA, and then if you look at the bottom, I mean, this is not a very good example. I just have this example, but it'll show you the courses that you have completed, as well as any courses that you are left to complete that are pending. One thing to take note of is when you use My Action Plan, like I mentioned before, if you are in an intended program, if you're not declared, you will have to use this what if function and choose your program from this list, okay, and then click submit in order and then hit process in order to see the correct list of courses that you need to take each term. So this is really important. If you don't use the what if function and you're not declared, what you see on My Action Plan will not be correct. If you click on these 3 little icons here at the right-hand corner and click on courses taken, it'll give you a breakdown of all the courses you completed each semester. So this is a really good tool to use as you progress through your program. One important thing to take note of is that if you are in an Associate of Arts program, MAP does not accurately reflect the courses you need to complete if you are in any Associate of Arts program. So having said that, regardless of which program you're in, always refer to the university calendar to confirm your courses. And of course, see an advisor if you're uncertain about which courses you need to take in a given term. Okay, so don't entirely rely on my action plan. For business programs, it's pretty accurate, but for some programs, there can be some glitches. So it's always a good idea to double check and refer to the university calendar and talk to an advisor if you want to be 100% sure that the courses you are taking will count in your program or not. Okay, I'm going to go back to our presentation and go over course websites app or the Moodle. So every instructor uses Moodle in different ways, depending on his or her teaching style. Moodle is a very common platform that you will use for your classes, and instructors may use Moodle to share course content, engage students with discussion forums, manage assignments and quizzes, and post grades. Once you register for a course, a few days before classes start, you should be able to view the course on Moodle. If you're unable to view it, you should inform your instructor. Okay, so I've included a QR code here that takes you to FAQs on Moodle. So feel free to check it out if you like to learn more about Moodle, because you will be using this quite frequently in your classes. Okay. Lastly, the student email app. All KPU students have a KPU email account. You will receive all university communications, including emails from instructors, advisors, and other important notices, such as those related to class registration and waitlist notification in your KPU email account. One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about waitlisting for classes, when you do waitlist for a course, you do get a notification in your KPU email account if a seat becomes available for you to register in. Okay, so it is important that once you are on a waitlist for a class, that you check your KPU email regularly, because once you receive that email, you have 48 hours from the time that you receive the email to log into your account and register for the course. Okay, it's not going to be done automatically, so you do have to do it manually. Okay. If you need to email anyone within KPU, please always use your KPU email account and always remember to include your student ID number. Okay, your student ID number is the only way we're able to identify who you are. Okay. Okay, so this takes us to some of the support resources. I'll briefly touch on some of the resources that you can access free of charge throughout your time at KPU. So we have the Academic Integrity Tutorial and the KPU 100 course. Both are highly recommended for you to complete prior to starting your studies at KPU. Okay, the reason we advise students to complete the Academic Integrity Tutorial is because every semester we do meet with students who are charged with academic integrity violations simply because they failed to cite their references properly, or they didn't fully understand what classifies as plagiarism. Okay, so as a student, it is your responsibility to understand what constitutes academic integrity violation and do everything to avoid it. Okay, if you're charged with this violation, you can receive a 0 on your assignment, an F grade in the course, or even be suspended from KPU based on how serious the offense is. Okay. So this course is really important as it teaches students the meaning of academic integrity as defined by KPU, why it's important, common examples of academic misconduct, and its consequences and strategies to uphold academic integrity. Okay. KPU 100, this is a non-credit one-week program free to all KPU students. Some of the things that will be covered in the course are how to manage your time effectively, strategies for reading text, taking notes and memorizing, how to communicate effectively online, how to work in online groups and teams, how to improve your test-taking skills, and how to use KPU technology such as Moodle. And you can use the QR codes provided on this page to enroll in both of these courses. I highly recommend that you complete both of them. They will really give you a head start on your academic journey at KPU and will give you the essential information that you need to do well in your classes. It'll make you really well equipped to start your classes. Okay, so now the next few slides, I will talk about the Teaching and Learning Center. This is another really important academic support resource. They provide a range of skills and strategies that encourage learning excellence and promote holistic development. You have the option to book a tutor, book an appointment with a learning strategist, attend one of their workshops, or get help with your writing assignments. All TLC services are free of charge. And their website is simply kpu.ca/TLC. You can also find them on one.kpu. If you search for TLC or Learning Center, you should be able to find their app. Okay. So just to highlight some of the resources that they have on their webpage, they have a webpage dedicated to online learning. They have some resources on digital tools. There's a page on how to use Moodle. They have strategies for reading text and taking notes, for writing skills, for preparing for your exams, how to manage your time, and so forth. So as you can see, there's lots of good resources available to you. So do take advantage of this. This is a snapshot of some of the workshops that you can access anytime virtually. I highly recommend that you spend some time navigating TLC's webpage and accessing the resources during your time at KPU. I know personally students who do utilize these resources end up doing quite well in their classes as compared to students who don't, refer to these resources. Okay. All right, so lastly, I will go over a few support services that you can benefit from on a personal level. First one is the peer mentorship program. Okay, so this program is specifically designed to support our first semester students. Every new student is connected with a peer mentor in their first semester. Peer mentors are current KPU students, and you can reach out to them throughout your first semester. They can assist you in navigating through some of the personal challenges you may face as a new student. They can help you get familiarized with the campus, introduce you to other new students, and help you build connections by holding social events throughout the semester. So if you're feeling lonely, which is a very common emotion to experience in your first semester, reach out to your peer mentor and they can help you connect with other students. Okay. If you're going through a difficult time in your life, perhaps you lost a family member, had a breakup with your partner, or are experiencing a high level of anxiety or depression for whatever reason, do download the TELUS Health Student Support app. They have professionally trained counselors with whom you can talk to over the phone or even chat with 24/7. The conversations you have are kept confidential and the service is free of charge to all students. And if you like to speak to someone in your native language, you can specify that and they will try their best to match you with a counselor who can support your preferred language. Okay. All right, so I also encourage you to download the KPU Safe app. Through this app, you're able to contact security and emergency services, find out what to do in an event of an emergency, access first aid and counseling services, view interactive campus maps, arrange for a security officer to escort you on campus, for example. If you have a class late in the evening and you like someone to walk with you to the parking lot, you can request the security department to arrange for an escorted walk, okay? You can also use this app to get help if you're having any car trouble on campus, such as a flat tire or dead battery. Okay, so really useful app. Again, in addition to the iSend app, I encourage you to download this one as well. KBU also has a counseling department that you can access if you are having concerns that are impacting your academics, sleep, or motivation. Their contact number is listed here at the very bottom, and you can also find them through the One.KBU platform. Okay, so again, another resource to reach out to. In your first semester, it can be quite overwhelming. So if you are feeling any of those, feelings of loneliness, depression, anxiety, please don't, suffer in silence. Do reach out to a counselor, okay? Okay, now that we have covered the major support resources available to you as a KBU student, let's just quickly talk about health insurance. And I won't go into too much detail on this, as this will be covered in the pre-arrival webinar as well, which you should be attending. And I've also included the QR code at the very top to our health insurance webpage, which goes in detail about each of these insurances, okay? So as a new student, you will be automatically enrolled in the GuardMe insurance program. The insurance covers the basics and emergency medical services. The information on this coverage is emailed to students during their first or second week of classes. The insurance takes effect on the first day of the first month of the semester. Okay, so for spring 2024 term, it will take effect on January 1st. If you're arriving before January 1st, you should purchase a separate travel insurance, or you can purchase GuardMe's early arrival insurance, okay? And you can scan the QR code at the top, as I mentioned, if you'd like to know more about the GuardMe's early arrival insurance and how to enroll in it. Once you arrive in Canada, it is important that you enroll in the BC MSP program right away. Anyone who plans to reside in Canada for longer than 6 months is obligated to enroll in this program, okay? This program is administered by the province of BC and covers the cost of doctor visits, hospital visits, diagnostic tests, etc., okay? You do have to pay $75 per month for this program. Okay, however, once you get your BC MSP, you do have the option of opting out from the GuardMe program, which costs you about $200 every semester. Okay. Lastly, the KSA Extended Health and Dental Plan is also something that all students are automatically enrolled in. It is also mandatory, meaning you cannot opt out from this plan unless you have similar benefits through an employer or somewhere else, which unfortunately, many students don't. Why do you need it? Well, because GuardMe or BCMSP, they don't cover everything, okay? For instance, BCMSP doesn't cover most prescription drugs, it doesn't cover vision care, and it doesn't cover dental care, all of which are covered under the KSA Health and Dental Plan, okay? How much does it cost you as a student? It costs about $200 per year, okay? So you're only charged annually. So before I move on to the next slide, just to summarize all these health insurance plans, I know it can be a little bit confusing. So just remember this, that you start off with GuardMe and KSA Health and Dental Plan. Okay, so those are the two plans that you start off with. Once you arrive in Canada, you apply for the BC MSP. Again, it is not optional. You have to apply for it. Once you receive your BC MSP, you have the option to opt out from the GuardMe plan, okay? Okay, so lastly, just a few quick reminders as you prepare to come to Canada. Remember to carry the following documents prior to boarding your flight. Your flight ticket, obviously, your passport, port of entry letter, visa if applicable, and your letter of acceptance. I've also included the QR code to IRCC's pre-departure guide. I highly recommend you to check it out as it has really good tips and information for students embarking to Canada as an international student. If you have any questions related to your travel to Canada, you can direct them to international transitions at kpu.ca. The email address is provided on the slide. Moving on. Okay, well, I guess we are done. So I'll end the presentation on this page. I know this was a lot of information in a very short period of time, but hopefully you retained most of the important key information. We have ways that you can reach out to us, as mentioned earlier. You can book an appointment through Advisor Connect, join a drop-in session. Other ways you can connect are through phone or email. You can email at internationalstudents@kpu.ca. I hope you do feel comfortable enough to reach out to us with any academic or non-academic questions you might have during your time at KPU. On behalf of the KPU International Advising Team, I wish you all the best of luck for your first semester at KPU, and we hope to see you very soon. So with that, I will pass the floor back to Angel, who will wrap up this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for such a wonderful and informative webinar. It was a pleasure to have you with us. I hope everyone also enjoyed this presentation and find it very helpful. So I would like to remind all of you that we will be sharing the recording of this session later this week to make sure you can review the information prior to your registration. And so we have opened our Q&A platform. Since we have a few minutes remaining until the scheduled end time, we will continue responding to some of the questions that are posted on the Q&A box. So if you would like to stick around during this time, please feel free to do so. Once again, if you have questions that were not answered during today's webinar, please feel free to contact the international office. As Sarah kindly shared with us, so you can email us at internationalstudents@kpu.ca, or if you have more complex or you need